to do it," he replied indirectly. "I would do it anyway, of course, even if you are 10 or 12 years older than I thought you were." "Yes, Dad never has realized that I'm more than 8 years old." "I see. You were going out there and be slaughtered?" He flushed, but made no reply. "In that case, I'm glad I'm here. That would have been silly. I think we'd better hold that council of war you mentioned a while ago, don't you?" "I need a smoke. Do you indulge?" "No thanks. I tried it a few times at school, but never liked it." He searched his pockets, bringing to light an unopened package and a tattered remnant which proved to contain one dilapidated cigarette. He studied it thoughtfully. "I'll smoke this wreck," he decided, "while it's still smokable. We'll save the rest of them. I'm afraid it'll be a long time between smokes. Well, let's confer." "This will have to be a one-sided conference. I don't imagine that any of my ideas will prove particularly helpful. You talk, and I'll listen." "You can't tell what ideas may be useful. Chip in any time you feel the urge. Here's the dope as I see it. They're highly intelligent creatures, and are in all probability neither Martians nor Venerians. If any of them had any such stuff as that, some of us would have known about it, and besides, I don't believe they would have used it in just that way. Mercury is not habitable, at least for organic beings, and we have never seen any sign of any other kind of inhabitants who could work with metals and rays. They're probably from Jupiter, although possibly from further away. I say Jupiter because I would think, judging from the small size of the ship, that it may still be in the experimental stage, so that they probably didn't come from any further away than Jupiter. Then, too, if they were very numerous, somebody would have sighted one before. I'd give my left leg and 4 fingers for one good look at the inside of that ship." "Why didn't you take it, then? You never even looked toward it, after that one first glimpse." "I'll say I didn't. The reason being that they may have automatic detectors, and as I have suggested before, our system of vision is so crude that its use could be detected with a clothesline or a basket full of scrap iron. But to resume, their aim is to capture, not destroy, since they haven't killed anybody except the one crew that attacked them. Apparently, they want to study us or something. However, they don't intend that any of us shall get away, nor even send out a word of what has happened to us. Therefore, it looks as though our best bet is to hide now and try to sneak away on them after a while. Direct methods won't work. Right?" "You sound lucid. Is there any possibility of getting back, though, if we got anywhere near Jupiter? It's so far away." "It's a long stretch from Jupiter to any of the planets where we have power plants, all right. Particularly now, when Mars and Tellus are subtending an angle of something more than 90 degrees at the Sun, and Venus is between the two, while Jupiter is clear across the Sun from all 3 of them. Even when Jupiter is in mean opposition to Mars, it is still some 550 million kilometers away, so you can form some idea as to how far it is from our nearest planet now. No, if we expect to get back under our own power, we've got to break away pretty quick. These lifeboats have very little accumulator capacity, and the receptors are useless above about 300 million kilometers." "But it'll take us a long time to go that far, won't it?" "Not very. Our own ships, using only the acceleration of gravity, and both plus and minus at that, make the better than 400 million kilometers of the long route to Mars in 5 days. These birds are using almost that much acceleration, and I don't see how they do it. They must have a tractor ray. Brandon claimed that such a thing was theoretically possible, but Westfall and I couldn't see it. We ragged him about it a lot, and he was right. I thought, of course, they'd drift with us, but they are using power steadily. They've got some system." "Suppose they could be using intra-atomic energy? We were taught that it was impossible, but you've shattered a lot of my knowledge today." I wouldn't want to say definitely that it is absolutely impossible, but the deeper we go into that line, the more unlikely intra-atomic energy power plants become. No, they've got a real power transmission system, one that can hold a tight beam together a lot farther than anything we have been able to develop, that's all. Well, we've given them quite a lot of time to get over any suspicion of us. Let's see if we can sneak away from them. By short and infrequent applications of power to the dirigible projectors of the lifeboat, Stephen slowly shifted the position of the fragment which bore their craft until it was well clear of the other components of the mass of wreckage. He then exerted a very small retarding force, so that their bit would lag behind the procession, as though it had accidentally been separated. But the crew of the captor was alert, and no sooner did a clear space show itself between them and the mass than a ray picked them up and herded them back into place. Stevens then nudged other pieces so that they fell out, only to see them also rounded up. Hour after hour he kept trying, doing nothing sufficiently energetic to create any suspicion, but attempting everything he could think of that offered any chance of escape from the clutches of their captors. Immovable at the plate, his hands upon the controls, he performed every insidious maneuver his agile brain could devise. But he could not succeed in separating their vehicle from its fellows. Finally, after a last attempt, which was foiled as easily as were its predecessors, he shut off his controls and turned to his companion with a grin. "I didn't think I could get away with it. They're keen, that gang. But I had to keep at it as long as it would have done us any good." "Wouldn't it do us any good now?" "Not a bit. We're going so fast that we couldn't stop. We're out of even radio range of our closest power plant. We'll have to put off any more attempts until they slow us down. They're fairly close to at least one of the moons of Jupiter. We'll have our best chance. So good, in fact, that I really think we can make it." "But what good would that do us, if we couldn't get back?" Dire foreboding showed in her glorious eyes. "Lots of things not tried yet, girl, and we'll try them all. First, we get away. Second, we try to get in touch with Norman Brandon." "How? No known radio will carry half that far." "No, but I think that a radio as yet unknown may be able to. And there's a bare possibility that I'll be able to communicate." "Oh, wonderful. That lifts a frightful load off my mind," she breathed. "But just a minute. I said I'd come clean with you, and I will. The odds are all against us, no matter what we do. If that unknown radio won't work, and it probably won't, there are several other things we can try, but they're all pretty slim chances. Even if we get away, it'll probably be about the same thing as though you're to be marooned on a desert island without any tools, and with your rescue depending upon your ability to build a high-powered radio station with which to call to a mainland for help. However, if we don't try to get away, our only alternative is letting them know we're here, and joining our friends in captivity." "And then what?" "You know as much as I do. Imprisonment and restraint certain, death possible, return to Earth almost certainly impossible, life as guests highly improbable." "I'm with you, Steve, all the way." "Well, it's time to spring off. We've both been awake better than 50 hours. Personally, I'm all in, and you're so near dead that you're a physical wreck. We'll get us a bite of supper and turn in." An appetizing supper was prepared from the abundant stores, and each ate a heartier meal than either would have believed possible. Stevens considered his unopened package of cigarettes, then regretfully put it back into his pocket, still unopened, and turned to Nadia. "Well, little fellow, it's time to shove off, and then some. You might as well sleep here, and I'll go in there. If anything scares you, yell. Good night, old trapper." "Wait a minute, Steve." Nadia flushed, and her brown eyes and black eyebrows, In comparison with her golden blonde hair